Hey, check it out. Bass and Cassie. Notice anything different? Notice maybe a little nicer camera? Look at it. It changes focal lengths, I think. I don't know. I had this camera a long time ago, but it was too new for my old computer, so it didn't work. So I kind of threw it away. But then I moved and I remembered that I have this camera. So I was like, maybe it works on my new computer that I've gotten since then. So I plug it in, and sure enough, it works. I'm also kind of testing the audio. Apparently, I think the camera comes with the mic. Praetor 7 was up. So if you guys see this, let me know how it sounds. Does it sound okay? Does it sound better or worse than what you remember what my streams normally sound like? Which I've rewatched them. They don't sound that good. Except my old computer sounded a little better. I have an old stream that's one thing for this stream I want to do maybe is watch. I have an old privatized stream talking about Earthbound. I was like, let's go take a trip down memory lane. Let's like stream snipe into the past on my old channel. Basson says, what happened to your wall? Just some remodeling. I don't know, some shiznibits. Praetor says, you need a dedicated mic. Does that mean it sounds bad? Oh, sounds the same, he says. Okay. Yeah. What about, while we're doing this, let me just see. Setting, because I can, the mic has multiple options too. Audio. These kind of look the same. Default, Realtek. All right, I just did something. Did that do anything? Can you guys, so I might have a good mic. I might do that right now too. This stream is like just hanging out. Stupid. It's like a stupid stream. Stupid stream. Check out my poofy hair. Check out my little pimple right there. Check out my like receding hairline a little bit. Yep. Prater says, I can't tell the difference. Okay. Let me see if it's worth messing with it now or later. So I can get a mic up in here. What do I do? It's in 1 second. I'm gonna see while I finish this carrot. Add some freaking bunch of old cables. Oh, what's up? What's up, everyone? I have this mic. This mic is sweet. But I don't know if this would work for like live streaming. Line out. There is some plugs you can use, and I might do a little something. See, and I got all these cords. I'm sure one of these might work. Or else maybe I even have a cord like behind the computer. Back here. Is this? What is this? This is crazy. Oh. It's like a charging cord. We'll try it. Just see what this is all about. Okay. I plug it. Oh, It slipped right in there. Now let me try this. I'm running out of USBs though. That's a little bit of a problem. That one is necessary. That one's necessary. That one. What is that one? What the shit is this shit? The shit is this shit. This shit's been here for like a long time. Just clogging my USBs, just nothing. Why are you clogging my USBs? All right, I plugged it in. It didn't do anything. Mitchell Cahill says, "Yo, Narwhal, I read Nosferatu. It was good, but I prefer your original work. As an adaptation, it lacked the what's going to happen quality, which is key to the Narwhal brand. The environments were great." Yeah, thanks. It's good feedback. It is. It's like a little bit of an experiment. It's like an asterisk in my body of work, but it's still pretty sweet. But yeah, and it's thrown across the room. Richard Cahill, I only have to read the Shorts Compendium. Nice. Let me know what you think of that one too. I think you might enjoy it. That book's thick. Okay, I'm turning this on. This wasn't on. That's what I had to do. Audio IF or card reader. I don't know what IF is. I'm going to try that. PC, Mac, iOS. Bus, power, or battery? Bus. Oh, I think it's working. It's working. This is crazy, guys. This is crazy. Hold on. This is the craziest shit I've ever seen. I can't believe it. Oh my goodness. Boom. Boom. How's that? Praetor says sounds nice. Whoa, so much better. Did it? Wait, because I just changed it. Was it already doing it or now? Now is it? Does it still sound good because I changed something? Jolly Green says, you look weird, not blurry. I know. That's why, back in the day, it's funny, with HD, they used to do a thing with close-ups for 35 millimeter film where they'd put silk over the camera to deliberately lower the resolution basically because they didn't like it, how crisp it looked. And I'm like, yeah, HD is not that great. Like, I'm just going back to below 720p perma. That's my style. Praetor says, it sounds like you're inside my brain. It sounds like you're in my dreams. So it sounds good. And I'm holding it right here. Got my copies of Cerberus and CS this week. Awesome books. Hell, thanks, Tobias. That's cool. People getting their stuff. I have a hat. This hat's stupid though. It's actually kind of funny. It just is like kind of it doesn't fit that good. It's kind of weirdly shaped, but it's the Boring Company. That's Elon Musk's LA tunnel company. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that audio sounds good. You can lick the mic. I can feel your DNA. Good mic. Okay, sweet. We got some shit going. Look at this. And holding the mic's kind of cool too. But I think I'm going to try setting it down and just see how that works. So 1 second. It's kind of just. And if I move it, does it rattle? Can you guys hear rattling? I'm curious about these things. Yeah, check it out. Narwhal with good tech now. This is crazy. Does the new house have a closet with a ghost lady? No, but sometimes I'm like, it's an old house. I'm like, is this shit haunted? There was an old lady who lived here before me, but she did not die in the house. She died at the hospital. I'm pretty sure. Charlie Green says, clip it to your ear. Oh, Schism says you need to point it towards you. So now the audio is not as good when it's like that. Is it like bad or is it just not as good? It's not like talking into the dreams. Matt Downey says sounds good. I think it might still sound okay. Maybe I'll be over here anyway, kind of closer to it. So the stream, 10 minutes in of messing around, still haven't finished my second carrot. So I'm gonna Chris plays not as good. If you move to your left, the sound is better. It's the mic's over here, so it sounds good when I'm over here. I'm gonna be looking a little bit at this monitor, so I don't know. I might have just hold the mic for a little bit. Once I finish my carrot. Always got to be holding something. But yeah, the purpose of the stream is Sunday launch of Earthbound. Everyone take notice. I know there's a few people that aren't on Twitter and they are on YouTube. I need to do a community post maybe. But everyone, I'm up to 2.4K subs on YouTube, like doing decent. Got a few new videos that are like fully edited documentary style storytelling videos that are pretty good quality content. So check those out if you haven't checked them out yet. Keep an eye out. Sunday for the Earthbound Grand Prix launch. Cerberus is in the middle of fulfillment / almost done. There's 100 more packages to send. I'm waiting for 50 copies of the hardcover Cave Slaves. So that's the last thing. Those will get there like this Friday or next Monday. And then those go out and then it'll be done. So it'll be done by early next week. Ruby Jade says, is there a sign up? No, not doing a sign up. I don't know specifically why, but I don't like signups as much as just like telling people, letting word of mouth spread, launching. There is going to be some day one specials and stuff. So it's going to be Sunday. So just mark your calendar. And that's going to be it. Prater said, make it Earthbound Omnibus. Maybe. Eventually it's going to be like, the first story was 2 volumes, 2 trades combined to make one kind of like movie length story. And eventually it's going to be 9 volumes like that. So it'll be like 4 movies in one little bonus comic, which is going to be the ultimate prequel, just for fun kind of, which I haven't written yet. But I wrote all the gaps, which is because Earthbound 2, which is Grand Prix, takes place 3 years after Earthbound, 3 to 4 years, like right in there. And it's that one is Grand Prix. That's like a movie. It's like 2 volume long fun script compressed story into like 3 days of the Grand Prix, like what happened at this like very eventful event. And that is so that's what this is. And that's like the next big cool story. And there's one other like that after this, so it'll be kind of a trilogy. But then there's the gaps, which is what happens in the 3 years, that are like short stories, but they're all pretty fun and equally cool, but they're just a different format. They're not the big epic story. But there'll be I think 300 pages worth of short stories. So that is another 2 volumes. So it's Earthbound 1, 2 volumes, the Gaps 2 volumes, that's 4. Then Grand Prix 2 volumes, that's 6. Then the unwritten third story, which I know a little bit what it'll be, but I haven't written it yet. That's 2. That'll be 8. And then the prequel, that'll be the end. And the trilogies, they're a little bit more like Indiana Jones-ish. Like you call it a trilogy, but it's not like, maybe more like Star Wars. Although it is like a continuous story, but it's not even necessarily like building up like the all 3 combined. It's like 3 different stories in the universe. Narwhal, how many of the very first editions of Foreign Agent and Nosferatu did you create? I bought the bundle from back on the first Earthbound. I've got the official releases as well. Just curious. The print run for the very first Foreign Agent wasn't that many. It's like 600 or something. And then there's a second order that got it up to almost 1,000, because that was through the 499 campaign with you boy Zach. And then the hardcovers, they're the really big. They're oh shoot, there's like someone mowing their lawn right outside the window. Hopefully that's not too bad. I'm gonna hold the mic here again. Sark says, looking forward to Grand Prix. One second, I gotta finish this carrot. Yeah, but Foreign Agent, they're the 8.5 by 11, the size, more European style, huge album style books. And I don't know how many of those there were, but those never got reprinted and never will. And it's like 200 max, but I think less than that. So those are like super limited if you get one of those. Mowing isn't that bad. Okay, cool. Yeah, the third Earthbound story is going to be a little bit about the MK Ultra system within Earthbound, of how they get kind of warriors as children and are able to kind of brainwash them that way through kind of the reincarnation system that is established in part 2. And then part 2 hints at a school, kind of this evil school where the kids are sent. And that's kind of a big, like a clandestine school. That's what part 3 is about. So the general system I've been doing is like part 1 hints at the Grand Prix. So part 2 is about the Grand Prix. Part 2, the Grand Prix, it hints at the school. So part 3 is about the school. And that could kind of keep going, but I'm like, I kind of just want to do 3, because that'll make the whole story will be like this thick when it's all done. And that'll be Earthbound, kind of. So, oh, Gain's a little hot up close. Okay, I can mess with that actually. 1 second. Beep, boop, beep, boop. Beep. I can do the limiter on. Biome. I think that's all I need. Or I can do auto level on. Biome. Sark says, can't hear the mower. You're good. That's kind of cool. 29 people watching. How's it going, everyone? 29 is a good number. I got some content for you a little bit. What I want to do. So yeah, one thing, it could be Q&A-ish, but there's not necessarily questions. But we were kind of talking Earthbound, building a little hype for Sunday. And so just letting people know that it's going to be launching. And but I have an old stream talking about Earthbound. So let me see. Because on my YouTube channel, it can be a privated video and I can still play it. So that's what I'm going to try and do. Oops, I got to share with audio. Share screen. Sometimes my internet gets weird and kicks me out for a minute. So if that happens, I'll be back. Fearsome Bullet says, I have Disney fatigue. Okay. Hello. Gonna do a storytelling series video here. Oh, that's weird though. Something is going on. Can you guys hear that when I hit play? Got a sip of coffee. Got my like chain mail on. Because it's coming out of, just got back from the escapades. Is that what they call it? The nights when they killed all those people? What do they call it? It's coming out of my mic. I can hear it. Can you guys hear it okay? The old me was like, the escapades, blah, blah, blah. The system is being a little weird. Just figuring it out. Waiting for feedback from chat. Did you hear that video a little bit? Try saying soda pop. I think you might need a pop filter. Where's your case? Why private the streams? Can you guys hear me now? Or can you only hear the computer. Is there like extra delay with the chat? Okay, there's people saying they can hear me. Can you guys hear the video when I hit play? Here, I'll hit play. What's it called? The Crusades. I called it the Escapades. Kind of funny. Okay. So it's just a little weird to me because it's not showing up on the audio for my computer. It's actually going to this mic and I hear it here. So I wonder if you guys can hear it. Hear what old me is saying on this stream. Like, is it going through? Okay. Frank Dern says, I can't hear the video. Yes. Okay. Cool. I'm going to let it play then a little bit and just. I'll explain this graph, then I'll kind of talk about it a little bit. Then I'll segue into some examples-ish concerning Earthbound. And we'll just talk about Earthbound, my old comic, sort of like a director's commentary that will have spoilers. I'll just do a little bit of that. Won't do too much. I just kind of want to see if that can apply to some of what I'm talking about. But so this is my graph. I kind of thought of this and wanted to talk about it more. Is like, I feel like this is like a film history type thing, is that the old movies, you had super talented people, but they didn't know like the knowledge of the art form. They were still figuring it out. And so the knowledge of the art form over time, it goes up, but then for some reason the talent went down because everyone's like eating too much soy or watching too much TV or whatever it is. But what's interesting is like I've seen a few old movies that are made by famous people in the last couple weeks that really weren't that good. And these people, they've also made amazing movies, but like specifically there's one called Body Heat. It's written and directed by Lawrence Kasdan. I think he's the guy who wrote Indiana Jones. He worked with Spielberg on that. He's a great screenwriter. I think he might have written Empire Strikes Back, maybe. He's an amazing screenwriter. So he did this noir movie, Body Heat. Downey, the lawnmower, you're not hallucinating. Wow, now I hear myself in my own mic. This is crazy. I tell you guys what, this is crazy. Now I can go like this. I can't talk directly into. If I turn, the limiter is messing with it. And it's not, I didn't like it at all. And so one of the things I'm going to talk about here is like, I want to. He didn't direct it, he wrote it. I said, I'm pretty sure. Compare apples to oranges. Like, I don't want to worry about any of that stuff of like, well, you got to take it in the context of this time, or like, that's comedy, this is action. I'm like, it's kind of fun to compare apples to oranges. I think that's a good way to develop your style, because you'll find out what you actually really like. Or like, if someone's like, why do I like What Women Want more than Braveheart? It's like, well, that's because that's your style, man. You're starting to zone in on what you really like, if you're allowed to compare apples to oranges. It's like, all things being equal, what do I like? And for me, I'm like, Apocalypto. If you pull out of St. Mel's repertoire, between What Women Want, him as an actor, or Braveheart or Apocalypto. Braveheart, he's an actor and a director. Apocalypto, he's just a director. Anyway, let me have a sip of coffee. 1 second. So I hear it like rumble once in a while. My thesis is kind of like that. New movies, it's more possible for them it's easier for them to be better than old movies, even though we might say like, oh, they don't make them like they used to. We might all have classics that we love, but like a movie could come out today. I don't know how much I agree with this, but I think I do still a little bit. I heard even John Carpenter in an interview with him the other day. He said you can't watch his old movies because they're too slow. And I was like, that is like how times have changed a little bit. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, that whatever, we're a little more ADD, but movies getting more efficient and less like this slow feeling. Like, even if you rewatch, I rewatched All Time Classic, which is still all time classic, but Raiders of the Lost Ark. you watch the beginning and it actually is like a little slow, like the very beginning. They do moments where they're building the tension and you're not, it's like if they did it today, it would be done differently and it would be a little bit like faster, which is potentially better. Sark says, how old is this video? I don't know. It's like, I think it's like 4 or 5 years old. Carpenter's rotted his brain playing video games all day. That could be. Even though today, because of the low talent pool, there's tons of trash out there. But there's like really good movies. So one in the apples to oranges way that I remember seeing recently was Uncut Gems. I kind of feel like Uncut Gems was the rumble is freaking my. I think I'm using a mic in that video that is like hanging. So yeah, or is it this? No. Yeah, but I think I'm using this mic. No, I'm not. I'm wearing headphones. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Some rumbling from that video, I'm pretty sure. Like, yeah. Well, there's it could be me breathing into the mic. What if I hold it here? Like one of the best movies I've ever seen, better than like the great movies of the 70s. I think it's better than that. Like it's better than Godfather. Isn't that crazy? I kind of think that. And like, I don't know, this little tangent here. So that's obviously like a really opinionated statement, a little bit contrarian in a sense, just because it's sort of what it's you're kind of going balls to the wall when maybe you shouldn't be. Like someone who's says, oh, it's the best movie ever made about every movie. Like who cares what they think? And I used to say that all the time. Whenever I watched a movie, I'd be like, dude, that's the best movie I've ever seen. But no, I really like Uncut Gems, and I saw it months ago. But I was at this one party, and yeah, this one guy was like, I was telling someone, I was like, Uncut Gems is like really anxiety through the whole thing. So it's kind of, in a weird way, it's kind of hard to watch. That might be why it wasn't quite as successful as I thought it would be, or like why there's like a lukewarm response even. And this one guy, he goes, it didn't induce anxiety to me. It was too long. Something like that. And I was like, I got really annoyed, but I got to remember that, I would get annoyed at me, if I express my opinion. It's not good to get annoyed at people just for expressing their opinion. So I'll let it pass. But that opinion annoyed me a little bit. Maybe it was like his tone. It was like a tone like he thought his opinion, he was like smarter than me, so his opinion is better. And I'm like, fucking low IQ piece of shit, you fat piece of shit. Look at you. You're fucking nice. What was I gonna say about that? Yeah, your boy Zach, when he was talking about film critique, one of the things he says that I kind of agree with is like some people you can tell they kind of didn't get it. And like an example of this for video games would be the video game journalist who couldn't figure out how to double jump in the tutorial. So then she gives the video game a bad review. And you're like, well, that's kind of on you. And I feel like that's a little bit of like, if your critique about a movie where its whole point is to be anxiety inducing, and you're like, yeah, you could say like, well, it didn't work on me, I guess. Like that's like, it's people who laugh at a horror film. It's kind of like that. It's like, yeah, you could do that. You could go in and laugh at a horror film and then say it's not scary. But that people who are looking for opinions of, whether or not to watch a horror film, aren't going to the people who laugh at horror films to find out whether it was a good horror film or not. So that's kind of part of it. In fact, that's what I wanted to say to him. I don't know how this will go. Segue into Earthbound. I'm not sure. JC says Zach has terrible taste in movies, though. Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that. He has interesting taste, though. And the thing about criticism too is I kind of always thought it was a little boring, and I always thought it was a little bit like 1-to-1. Like you go to like Roger Ebert to see if he liked it or not, and you're like, his taste is kind of like mine, and he liked it, so therefore I might like this movie. I'll go see it. But there's a account I follow on Twitter. It's called Genuine Class. And he just does like random film, super quick little sparse little tweets about films. And he does like this film criticism stuff. And he quotes Pauline Kael a lot. Tarantino loves Pauline Kael. And then there's another account I follow called like Pauline Kael Quotes. And she did this kind of review too, where they're not even worried about like the movie that much. They're kind of like trying to critique the soul of the artist based on the art they create. And that can go bad or good, but I think that's like super interesting. I didn't even know that that was a thing until like a year ago, and that opened my mind a lot. That helped me a lot, like for my own art. Once I realized that, like, oh, if there are ways you can kind of like work on your own outlook on life to improve your art. And I'll give you an example. Something Genuine Class pointed out is he said all movies with writers as characters always make the writer like a holier than thou, like great, you know, they write writers to be really impressive, cool people because it's writers writing it is like I don't even know if he kind of said that, but he's kind of making fun of writers tooting their own horn in their stories. An example of that is like any Stephen King book or whatever, you know, and he'll make the character flawed, but he makes them like flawed in a way where they're like super likable and whatever else. And so, yeah, just pointing that out and you're like, oh yeah, note to self, don't write writers or any character really. Like if you're writing some characters as like, you can tell the author loves this kind of person and you can tell the author hates this kind of person. Like you, for one, you might want to try to avoid that at all. You don't want people to be able to tell that. Or if you do, you want it to be an opinion that's not super annoying. And I can see, I've seen some movies where it's deliberate and on purpose to the point of being the example I was thinking of for this is it was the new Russell Crowe movie where he's a fat guy who goes on a crazy rant with his truck and wants to kill the girl with the cell phone. He's having like a really bad day and he becomes a serial killer because of his bad day. I forget what it's called, like Unhinged or something like that. But that movie is funny because there's a scene where it randomly cuts, there's all this action on the road and it randomly cuts to someone on their phone who's being annoying on their phone and cutting off traffic. And they're like, you can wait, buddy. I got to finish my call. And then boom, they get like hit and then they get flung from the car and then they get smashed against the concrete and they explode and they die. And they aren't even like a character in the movie. So the only reason the movie's showing us that is kind of like this little commentary on, don't you hate people who talk on their phone in their car while blocking traffic? We do too. Let's kill this guy just for fun. And so it's like that can be mean-spirited, but that is like saying something. And then you're like, okay, is what it's saying, is it super annoying or is it actually like kind of funny? And yeah, like that's like it's goes up and down. I'm not sure for either of that. And the last thing I'll say that ties into all this kind of that's a little bit interesting, it's something your boy Zach says about criticism, that criticism is, he says it's not for the artist creating it, it's for other people. And I think that kind of fits pretty good with the Genuine Class form of criticism, where you're reading other criticisms and you're actually like reading people psychoanalyzing the artists based on their art, which is pretty fascinating. And then you see things like, you're like, oh, I definitely don't want to do that. I wouldn't mind if I did that. I could do that. And like even another one that's like pretty common, and this goes with the writer one too, but if it's like rednecks are stupid and liberals are smart, like if that is like the worldview of the artist and you can feel it coming through the art, that's like really cringy and stupid. And I like hate that. And that what was the problem with that too, is like, it's usually a blind spot for the artist. So like this form of criticism is like kind of trying to find the blind spots of the artist, which I'm really interested in. And I reread recently the beginning. I actually put it down because I couldn't finish it, but I started just the first issue of Why the Last Man, which it was previously like my favorite comic, pretty influential, and I loved it. And like it made me cry at the end. I read the whole thing. But I started rereading it and I'm like, oh, it's the worldview that liberals are great and rednecks are stupid. I'm like, that is so dumb. I can't read it. So I put it back down. And that's like, you know, it could still be a good story in spite of that. That's not like a deal breaker, but for me at this point, it kind of is. And the fact I've already read it, so I already kind of know what happened. So it wasn't worth a reread in that case. But to do that kind of criticism where you're psychoanalyzing the artist, the other interesting thing about it is you have to watch a ton of movies or else you can't do it. Like you can't watch one movie, you'd be shooting blind, just guessing stuff. But if you watch like every movie ever made, you would start to see patterns. You start to see these trends and stuff. And you start to see like, oh, a lot of movies they make the rednecks stupid and the liberals smart. And then you're like, yep, this one's doing that. And so that kind of stuff is like very interesting, very useful for people reading from outside of it. And it would be rare that like a blind spot would be brought up and actually change the artist, like the artist himself would like make an adjustment. That's kind of one thing your boy Zach was saying too. JEC says, I used to like Brian K. Vaughan, can't stand his stuff now. It feels like it would be a slight adjustment too. That's I kind of think writers need to be at least a little based, and then the sky's the limit how good they can get. But if you're not a little based, then it's like you can't even do it. It's not going to be good anything you make because it won't be like coming from the real world kind of. And who's based, but kind of conceals it slightly because he's still pretty mainstream is Mark Millar. And so he's a good example. Henry Thurn, I'll take a wrench. You can trust me. I would, but I have to open it in YouTube. I'll do it later if or something, because I'm just working out a stream yard right now. Angela Curry, pushing agendas on both sides is annoying. Just tell me a story. Start Wrench Wars 4. Yeah, I agree with that too. Was I gonna? So one example of, but some of this of what the criticism is pointing out is like not even agendas. It's weird. It's like these little mini biases that they're like blind spots. And one that I heard that's kind of controversial. So I heard this from Genuine Class, but it was funny. It made me take another look at the stuff. I feel like chat's going to definitely disagree with this, but I'll tell you what he said. He said he can't stand Calvin and Hobbes because of its persnicketyness. And he said it's Midwest persnicketyness is he can't stand it. And I was like, okay, you know what that is? That it is like a holier than thou perspective. It's like a little snooty. He's like making fun of society. And it's like a holier than thou kind of thing. And so that was like, I heard that and I was like, you know what? Did you just ruin Calvin and Hobbes for me forever? And I think in my case he did. But then you could think about it. You're like, well, what's wrong with like making fun of the world? That's like hilarious. That's a good, artistic perspective to, if you kind of have to be a little holier than thou if you're like making fun of the world. But that's like a contradiction. It's like, how do you solve, it's like a balance. How do you walk that tightrope of, you don't want to come off as holier than thou, but you do want to make fun of everyone. And yeah, so different people would react to that differently. Hype Wizard says someone's got to do it. Yeah. Sark says Calvin and Hobbes is perfection and Bill Watterson is a saint. Yeah. See, fair enough. Henry Thurn says you can say that about any comedy. Ken Jackman says I can't stand Napoleon Dynamite. I think it's mean spirited. Possibly. I could kind of see that. What if I just come out and say I'm holier than everyone else? Yeah. I mean, owning it would help, possibly. I don't know. It's a little riddle. I haven't even solved it. I don't know. I'm wondering if you even like what you apply to, like it doesn't really come up that much in Earthbound, or there might be stuff that they'd be blind spots, but like, so Earthbound is like, it's kind of a little bit based and a little bit regular. It's not feminist. So, from a certain perspective, it's like a little sexist, which is good. I think like personally, if you're like making a story, trying to like roll dice for your character where you're building a character for like Dungeons and Dragons, and you got these stats along the slider, you're applying points to like your worldview when you start your story. And it's like, put all the points into feminism. You're like, no. Let's put a little bit of the points into misogynistic. That actually will make it just right. A little spice. Hype Wizard says nature is sexist and racist. That's why you want like a little bit based helps all art. And if you go from that, then you got the basics, I think. And then you're then I'm like, what are there like double blind spots? Because you can solve most of the blind spots by being just a little based. So I don't know. Crystal McGee says, "What's up? What's up?" All right, we're watching 31 people. We're watching an old stream that's privated, so this is very exclusive, old information. Nobody can see this except now, right now. I think it's privated for a reason. It's not even that great, but whatever. I'm not even sure what I'm talking about. But yeah. So when I saw Body Heat, though, I was volunteering at the movie theater because I quit the deli, so I volunteered at the movie theater. But then that gig stopped because of coronavirus. The theater shut down. So I'm not doing that anymore. Maybe when it comes back, I'll do it. But that night, like they're like, all right, coronavirus was just kind of a sort of a public thing. This is only like a few weeks ago, really. But people are like, they're training me, and they're like, squirt your hands with sanitizer every time you touch money or a credit card. Blah blah blah. So much shit. Don't touch people's phones. Blah 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 blah. But anyway, at the end of the shift, they're like, we're gonna watch a movie, just the employees in the big theater, if you want to stick around. I was like, dude, I will. That's awesome. It was like cool, weird adventure. I sat in this huge theater. We all got a beer from the bar, sat in the theater, and through this, one of the volunteers had brought and wanted to share Body Heat. And unfortunately, I didn't like it. But yeah, so I'll break down quickly why I didn't like it. This is kind of like one of the main things I think about, like, what is new knowledge? What is this like sword that you can be a less talented person, but if you have this sharp sword, you can still make a better movie than Lawrence Kasdan, who might be a genius, but it's like he was kind of existed right in that sweet spot of the 80s. That's where I think the stuff overlaps, where the knowledge of the art form and the talent was high, knowledge was high. A lot of really good movies got made, which is kind of funny because some film critic people might say the 70s, but for me, I feel like it's the 80s. That's I was just gonna say I've since changed my mind. It's definitely the 70s. But the 90s are good too. I'm very nostalgic for the 90s, and we haven't had a good era since that. Since like from 2000 to 2010 was like okay, and I don't know. I was looking at some. You can find like what was the last funny comedy like on TV before everything went woke and got stupid. And I think it might have been like 30 Rock. And it was Tina Fey, and I was like, what is she doing in the woke era? I don't see her doing too much annoying woke shit, I don't think. I think she's kind of just keeping her head down. So I don't know. It's when like Star Wars kind of started it. Like that idea of it's kind of morphed the 3-act structure. That what was previously called the 3-act structure was just like beginning, middle, and end kind of thing. That turned into the hero's journey, which is more like introduce your person in their world. Something happens to upend that world. They do stuff to set it right. Blah blah blah. That's like the hero's journey. So like when Star Wars came out, like this regular old 3-act structure, old classic old storytelling, kind of started to die in movies, and then the hero's journey started to take it over. And I don't know, like I kind of I like watching old movies for some of that 3-act structure, but sometimes I don't know, it's either way. But anyway, even the hero's journey, it eventually got bastardized, and then there was a need for like a postmodern take on it to like rejuvenate it, and that's Tarantino in like 1992 or whatever, like right around there. So that's where like, and yeah, the hero's journey, like the main way it got bastardized is with Chosen One type story. But that's like kind of neither here nor there ish. So anyway, sorry, let me get a sip of coffee. So what was I saying? Hey, it's my mug? No, it's not my mug. Oh yeah, so this new knowledge, this sharp sword. There's one of the biggest things is it's structuring your plots. It's A, have a subplot, and then B, have your plot and your subplot intertwined very nicely so you can cut back and forth. And then C, like you need a that was the old lady in the closet, an emotional plot. Old movies might still do that, and they'll both have a climax. Hold on. So again, when it's kind of perfect, I'm rewinding it. The old lady in the closet. It internet broke. going on? I just wanted to hear the old lady one more time. Instead, it's like, you cannot watch private video. 33 people watching. There's always 33. That's a good number. But yeah, that graph, I remember that graph. It was like the idea that I've been thinking about this recently a little bit too, is like, what is even the history? Because it's kind of a new art form. If you're talking about cinema, they only invent the camera 100 years ago or whatever, a little over 100 years ago. And then they're kind of figuring it out as they go. And at any point, like maybe even the guy who invented it, he's like more talented than anyone living today. Like even really talented people like Nolan, Tarantino, the guy, that early filmmaker, he was like the most talented of all time. But he might have figured out a bunch of shit, but then everyone else is standing on the shoulders of giants. That's a big part of cinema, I think, is this idea of standing on the shoulders of giants. That's why it is very important to know what came before. That's probably true for a lot of stuff, but like comics, obviously, and you can see when they aren't doing that, the shit suffers. But yeah, so less talent, even though the movies that are made today, they're actually way better than that super talented guy managed to make. That could be like true of like the Beatles even or something. Dude, what's up with this shit? What's going on? I don't know. Maybe this will end the stream. We can't watch me talk anymore. Me talky talk? What if I go like this? It's like, I don't think internet's broken. It was just like being super weird. Like anything will load. I can load anything. I just can't watch the video. What if I go here? Of good dialogue. I'm like, okay. Oh, there we go. Oh, I was cutting my luck. Pushing my luck. Go here. And here. Oh, YouTube says you can't watch yourself? That's weird. I'm just trying to watch a stream. It's privated. It was working that one time and I clicked off it. Oh, Sark says he was joking. Is Narwhal EFAPing the Unabomber's manifesto? Sort of. Basically. What do I do? What if I go here? If I go here? If I go here? Reload. It's like super fast. It like loads and it's like, nope. R.I.P. Uncle Ted. What is up? In a couple years, Narwhal can watch this video of himself watching himself. I will. What if I go big screen? How do you make it stop doing that? I could go to this. No. I could go. What if I go to the end? Try restarting your device. Excuse me. My device. My device. This is my computer. What if we go? How did I get to that link in the first place? It was like finding it. Boing. Boing. What if I go like that? Beep, boop, boop, beep. You know what I need? I think I need a foam guard. Oh,
I'm going to do a storytelling series video here.
But now it's at the beginning, so hold on. Oh, it stopped again. Maybe it is just slow internet or something. Yeah, I watched the Bam Margera thing. I'm going to try. I'm just going to click here. Find out why.
And blah, blah, blah stuff happened. So the whole first 50 minutes or something.
Maybe it's just slow internet. If it continues like this, I'll probably end the stream. But we got a good camera now. Got a decent mic, although the mic's a little weird. Oh, what is that? And Earthbound Grand Prix launching Sunday. All the art's done too. It's 42 pages. If you include like a little preview at the end, and the title page actually is kind of a story page too, because it includes some like lore and important art. It gets up to like 44. And I might include a little more like behind the scenes. And if it hits a certain point, I don't know how much, but like if it's successful, like whatever, 10, 20 G's in that zone, then I'll include a short story. And it's going to be a low-ish price point because it's just a 48-page comic. So I'm thinking like $16 maybe. Oh, loud mower. Can you guys hear this shit? Jolly Green says, can you show a preview? Yeah, let's do it. Hey, look at that. This stupid video wasn't even playing. Okay. Well, I'm getting the preview ready. Crunching on carrots. Yeah, I think if I breathe into the mic just right, it goes like the wind, the stupid wind. How do you make the wind not be the wind from my nostrils? I'm like a god. Cool Teen says Cerberus Second Chance when? That'll be included with the campaign. That might be the only older book. I got a little bit of an issue because I now have like 7 books or something, and I almost can't offer them all every campaign. I can maybe do one catch-up campaign per year just for all books, but it's like kind of complicated. What I would like to do is get a store somehow and offer just all the books all the time. But I don't know how to do that. I mean, I guess it could be eBay, but then if I'm running that, I kind of need help. I wish I was married. I wish I had a slave wife to do that for me. But yeah, this is going to be the title page. So like art over this. And that's the butterfly comet. It's referenced in Earthbound, where they get the special stuff to make the rings, which the rings aren't mentioned in Earthbound, but that's a lot in this story. Sark says, yeah, you need a website or something. Hype Wizard says, is Interactivity on sale anywhere currently? Yeah, Interactivity is the only one of my books that's available all the time. It's either digitally on what's it called, Gumroad, or Amazon Print on Demand. Between those two, you can get it anytime. And then I just offer it with the campaigns too. That's kind of sometimes the most convenient. Past Master, I'm setting up a payment system for selling my collection. Yeah, once you have that, then you could do a full site, launch the crowdfund that way. Popping Rico said that would be awesome. What would be awesome? Like me, if I had a store to buy old stuff, is that what you're saying? Stop showing all the stuff. That's the first page, the ship arriving at Temple 1. Temple 1 is the one-way portal. Once you go in, you cannot get out, which is, so nobody really knows what's through there. They know the Grand Prix is through there, though. These guys get there early. I don't know what I want to, what can I share? Furries. Look at furry slaves. Let it be known Earthbound Grand Prix has furry slaves. These guys. Let me see. I'll skip ahead and see if there's any other pages I can. Or no. This page is kind of cool. There's Jordan talking to WizKid, and then cutting to WizKid talking to Blowgart. Blowgart's taking a shower. You can see just the slightest little drawing of his wiener there. WizKid approaches Blowgart to discuss some business. Blowgart, it's not exactly spoilers. It's kind of an early twist, but they do meet up after being separated for 3 years. And Blowgart has a mustache now. That's what's changed. And he's sort of become a sex idol. Not exactly an idol. Icon? I don't know. Past Master, point of no return. It's good convince when you have time to order stuff. Yeah, store. Yeah, I got to get the store going. I'll figure it out. I'll think about what to do. Because there's a bunch of stuff. I mean, yeah, like I offered the Narwhal completionist tier with the compendium, and it was over £5. I think it was 7 books, super thick and heavy. And since then, it's going to be like 2 or 3 more books. And usually, all my books are trades too. So it's like 7 trades is what's out. And then this is the first of kind of switching to this new kind of plan where it's floppies, 1 through 6. They're double issues for Earthbound Grand Prix, and it will be released in trades, after 3. So like 2 trades making it. But one reason they get the floppies is because they print in full bleed, because you can open the books all the way. So there's no art lost in the spine like with trades. So trades, you have to shrink the art a little bit so that the spine won't obscure the art. And in floppies, you don't have to do that. So the art's a little bigger, which is kind of fun. So that's something I make sure people know about too. It's a little bit of like an extra collectible thing. You get the version that's like bigger art, basically. And there's one other thing about floppies that's fun. Oh yeah, I've noticed this with myself. I don't know if you guys can relate or this applies, but I reread floppies way more, and I don't really reread trades as much. But floppies, I'll just pick them up and read them at any point, just for fun. And so, in some ways, it can let you get. And Earthbound definitely applies to this. Earthbound Grand Prix, especially, where there's a ton of details, and rereading it is beneficial. So it kind of encourages that a little bit. If people want to read it more than once, if it has a floppy, a little more easy access to do that. Furry slaves, a cave slave, wife slave. I'm detecting a pattern here. See, that's the psychoanalyzing the artist. See, that's the kind of criticism that I have learned to appreciate. Maybe it's a blind spot. Maybe I didn't realize how obsessed I was with slaves. Wouldn't be our first furry chain in Vanzi. Yes. With that mustache, how could he not be a sex icon? Yeah. Yeah, there actually was a couple Earthbound short stories in the compendium. But they are I think they're not exactly canon because I'm gonna retell them, but through the larger lens uh in Grand Prix. And I might change just a couple things, but I might not change anything. But they're almost like not canon. Like you're gonna be able to read, you could totally ignore them and you're gonna be able to read the gaps, and that's gonna like tell all the exact same story, but a bunch more. But one of the things that happens is Blogart gets taken to like a giant zoo in space where there's a creature that they're keeping confined and it can only eat humans. So they have a huge human breeding program to feed the creature. And so they make Blogart a one of the human breeders because if they, they can get inbred if they keep them too long. And the men grow old anyway. So he's a human breeder for an intergalactic zoo for like 3 years, and so that's his like rite of passage. He's a man after that, and then he escapes and blah blah blah. Blogart, I was just thinking, it's like he was like abused on Epstein Island, but sex reversed. Yeah. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna end the stream, but I'm gonna try and stream a fair amount leading up to Sunday. Definitely stream a lot on Sunday. Doing some stuff. I'm getting a few things. I'm kind of getting back into traditional art. I was just working on this. I'll see if I can make it big. Present. What do I do? How do I make myself big? Oh, crap. This is Percival, but that design is not final. I'm drawing him a lot, trying to figure out how he even looks. But Percival is the comic. I've been writing it here and there. I wrote some of it like live, and I didn't get that far. Then I ended up rewriting some of that later. But that'll be one of my next big comics eventually, and I want it to maybe have traditional art. And it will be pretty cool. That one's turning out cool. The thing about that one too is Percival, my story cuts in where he has the Grail and he's trying to find King Arthur because he has to give the Grail to King Arthur. And that's like a problem in itself to find King Arthur. But he's already been looking for the Grail for 25 years. And it actually has let him find it like 100. Well, I don't know the exact number, but basically like 100 times. Maybe it's 25 years. Maybe it's like 25 to 50 times he's found the Grail, and it deliberately messes with them. Like, so he'll be about to get home to give it to King Arthur and it'll disappear. And so it's like it's basically broken him. And in his broken state is when he can finally carry it. He's like worthy to carry it if he's broken, but he even will heal over time, just naturally, like his mental state will heal. And then he knows it's going to disappear again at some point. So he kind of has to get it to King Arthur while he's still broken. And it's him being broken by the Grail. It's kind of like being enlightened. And there's the definite overlap with art. How I feel with art is like art can kind of break you too. And so I feel like I could sort of relate to putting your heart and soul into something and have it amount to nothing. It's like when you don't get your dopamine for art, is like that's what happened to Percival. The Holy Grail does that to him, like endlessly. It toys with him, teases him, breaks him. Once he's broken, then he can kind of carry it for reals. And there's 3 rules that he's learned over the 25 years about the Grail, and one is it has healing properties, so you can just put water into it, drink the water, it will heal you. But he cannot ever use it. If he uses it, then it will disappear. And he has to use it on other people. If he denies it to other people, it will disappear. So he has to heal the land. And then what's the last rule of the Grail? There's one other rule that's cool. It might just be that it stays with him because he's broken, so he can't be healed, or I forget. There's one other cool rule. But anyway, eventually it's 25 years of him adventuring for the Grail and it messing with him. And a lot of stuff happens in those 25 years. And the Grail, the rules of the Grail, its healing properties, and Percival are all there the whole time. So I'm like, there's a lot of stories that could be told. So that would be one that if I ever get the funding, I definitely just want to hire like 10 writers each to write one Percival story. And it can be 20 pages to 48, or it could be longer if they wanted to. It would be a big series, because that idea, more than any other idea I've had, that idea feels like it could be like a TV show, like with multiple episodes, like X-Files or whatever. It's like the Percival Files, his various adventures. Hyperzer says the Trolley Grill. Yeah, sort of. But I don't know. It's a little different, I think. I don't know. Narwhal and Camel both draw. Where am I? Oh, that's funny. How's the smoking going? I quit again. Oh yeah, I kind of just took the one drag and took the photo, so I still quit, which is good. Probably good. Although I do think smoking makes you look older, and that's much needed in today's society. Everyone looks like babies, including me, and I'm sick of it. Charlie Green says, I don't think you need to hold the mic. Yeah, maybe I should set it down. Anyways, I'm about to end the stream. Yeah, I wrote down the 3. I kind of want to tell you guys the 3 laws. See if I can even find it. Is it here? Did I write it down? I swear I wrote it down somewhere. I might have written it down in the script. Oh yeah, cool. The last rule is he has to hold it with a light touch. If he clutches it tightly, it disappears. And like that kind of metaphorically too. Like if someone says, "Can I hold it?" Like, you have the Grail, can I hold it? And he says, "No, you cannot hold it." Then it disappears. So he says, I have to hold it with a light touch. I have to use its power to heal the land. I cannot use its power on myself. It stays with me while I'm broken. If I slowly mend my mind, it will disappear in time. Cool. With that, I think I will end the stream. 25 people watching. How's it going, everyone? Keep an eye out for Grand Prix Sunday. Going to definitely be streaming on my channel, but also other channels. So wherever, but streaming a lot that day. Just trying to let people know. Spread the word. Be ready. It will be. It's set to be a 15-day campaign. Might extend a little bit, but it'll be a quick campaign. Fulfill immediately. The art is all already done. So it's like, who wants to get in on this edition now? We're going to keep moving forward. That might keep it sort of limited anyway. Like, and then it might maybe it depending on how it does. If it kind of bombs, then I will do a little mini one on Indiegogo too. But I don't really think that'll happen. I think it'll do fine. It has to do, if it does around 10K, that keeps the wheels on for me. That keeps things moving. I'm kind of hoping it does a little bit better, but we'll see. Yeah, my campaigns, they went like this,
got all the way. So like first campaign was, I think 12 thou. Second one was like 16, then like 36, then 80. So it went, whew. And then that was Earthbound 2. And then Nosferatu actually did like 69, which is higher than I remembered. That's kind of crazy numbers for Nosferatu. That's kind of awesome. And those two doing so good. I thought Nosferatu was like an in-between campaign that was going to do 10K, and it did 69. Those two funded a lot of like the extra narwhal stuff, where I hired a bunch of writers, spent like at least 50 grand over 2 years working with various writers to a lot of stuff kind of didn't come to fruition, but there's still some good development. And you can write it off with taxes because it's all expenses. So I just have a budget for that anyway. I'll definitely spend some of the money I make no matter what, just developing projects. And the more the better, the more I can go. If I ever make more, just put more into production, because I got scripts waiting, but was able to get Cerberus into production and the Shorts Compendium into production. But then it kind of started going down a little bit. And this is kind of with it's with the economy. B, these projects were like, you can even tell from afar that they're slightly less like blockbusters than potentially like Earthbound, which is so far that's definitely the bread and butter for my body of work. But yeah, like it's like a short story compilation that's never going to necessarily be a blockbuster potentially, and then a talking dog story. But both those just broke even, and it's been trending down. So those that did like 38, then 33, and I'm like, is it going to keep going down? Because now I'm just doing a double page issue of Earthbound. Like honestly, if it made 20, that would be really good. So that would be sweet, but it would still be going down. I'm like, oh, when will it go back up? Go back up, little graph. But yeah, but it's good. Some of that does keep you honest. Like it makes me, because I was developing some stuff that was getting a little bit artsy fartsy. And then I had the two ones that just broke even kind of going down. And I'm like, all right, cool the artsy fartsy shit for a little bit, son. We're doing Earthbound. Boom. We're doing some high concept shit, getting shit out there. Downey says, cool beans, Jackie. Oh, about Hype Wizard streaming. Cool. D Monahan, Cerberus was good. Glad I got it. Cool. Thanks. Yeah, part 2 is going to be sweet. Coming out next year. Narwhal, I will get you with marketing and sales. Richard KO, Cerberus 2 will increase because people can get to 2 books. Yeah, I agree. Yep. Yeah, I'll do another stream sometime, tell you guys some of the possible plans, because I got some cool scripts in the background. They're like, I want these to see the light of day, but I can just work on one, so I'm working on Earthbound, but there's other stuff. One of them's the Naked Samurai. I'm still kind of looking for a perfect artist for that too. But that's a cool script that's been sitting there for like 3 years now, maybe. That's a big epic one. It would be a 300-page black and white comic. Cool. All right. I'll catch everyone later. Thanks for hanging out.